All right, so tell me if this has ever happened to you. Today I sat down at one of my favorite coffee shops to start working like usual, and I dug into one thing, and then I saw a message from another person, and then I hopped over to another task, and then I kind of had like 10 different things on my brain, and I wasn't like really sure what I should work on today, and just kind of felt like this overwhelm kind of creeping in. And so I paused for a second and I just did a little journaling, and I wrote down like what are all the things that I'm actually working on? What am I actively trying to do right now? And the list really surprised me. I'm writing a book, it's most of the way done, and it's called Get Clients with a Book. That's what it's about. And I'm actually meeting my editor for a beer tonight. He happens to be in town, which is pretty cool, to talk about the book and keep working on it. But there's still a decent amount of work that has to be done to get that thing to the finish line. I'm also redoing my entire website. I hired someone on Upwork. I'm working with her to revamp the whole thing, which is creating all this other stuff. Like I have to write copy for certain pages and get logos designed and think things through better and not just have such a kind of shitty website, but try to actually make it good and clear and cohesive. On top of that, I am learning a new software. It's called Hype Fury. It's actually pretty cool. You can write something in it and it will automatically publish it to LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. And so I've been trying to write consistently in there. But I also know that like I need to engage on those platforms with other people if I'm going to grow. I can't just like post something but never show up and join the conversation, comment on other people's posts. Or I'm like, oh yeah, I got to be doing that too. I also, try to do a weekly podcast here. And I've been doing a weekly video and email newsletter for a long time. On top of that, I've hired a new bookkeeper. The one I used to use wasn't working out, and I found a new person. But onboarding her is complex. There's lots of different things going on with my rental properties and then my coaching business. So it's like two separate LLCs that she's doing the bookkeeping for, and she has lots of questions, needs lots of things. And I'm like, working with a guy who does my YouTube thumbnails, a guy who does my video editing, and I kind of haven't really settled on who I'm going to use for those roles. So I'm like messaging different people and trying different things out. The list goes on, but you could probably, if you were my coach, like, what would you tell me to do? Well, I tried to coach myself and look at this situation, objectively. And what I realize is like, dude, you're trying to do too much all at once. You're doing like multiple projects and then trying to keep up with like a content rhythm that's, not really sustainable. Another thing I'm not really doing that well is batch creating my content. Like I might write 3 or 4 days worth of content that goes in Hype Fury, but like the weekly newsletter and the YouTube video, I'm kind of flying by the seat of my pants and not like sitting down to write and record like 4 of them all at once like the pros do. And so that journaling session, gave me a lot of takeaways. I was like, okay, first of all, there's certain things I've just got to put on the back burner. There's certain things I'm going to be creating an online course like that goes in tandem with my book. It'll be a very kind of deep dive resource on how to help you write a book that will bring in clients for your business. And that was another thing on the list that I didn't even mention. It's like the fact that I'm even like considering starting that is crazy right now. But I have been, like yesterday, even before I had this kind of awareness, I was like, oh, I could sit down and I got some time right now. I could write the slides for the first video. And, after today, I realized that thing's probably not going to even begin for months. And so I'm realizing in me, I have a tendency to get excited about a lot of stuff, to start a lot of stuff all at once, to really fill my plate. I can handle a decent amount of things at one time, but that's not necessarily like a good thing, because you shouldn't do that, and then it leads to lack of effectiveness. Like I wasn't really getting back to the lady who was doing my website or the lady who was doing my bookkeeping because I was thinking about starting new projects. Today, I just said, fuck all that. And I just spent the day, typing up a really clear document about what I want on each page of my website. I got everything over to the bookkeeper. And, I didn't really make much progress. Besides that, I have to go home for some client calls now. It's not even noon yet, but I realized, today that my tendency to take on too much stuff had crept up to a point where like my gut was just telling me when I sat down to work today, like, dude, you need to chill out. Like, you are trying to do too many things. That's why your brain's all over the place. And so that was my learning lesson for the day. I hope that helped someone else out there who's kind of feeling the same way. It can help to just write out everything that you're working on or wanting to work on, and then get really realistic about, what do you have the time and the space for? Because I'm looking ahead. I'm like, okay, once I get this bookkeeper rolling and we're in a rhythm, that's going to be very little work for me. Once the website's done, it's done. And once I can start batch creating content, and get like 30 days ahead on writing posts and 3 or 4 weeks ahead on YouTube videos, that book is going to be done at some point. It's going to be out there working for me. Then one day the course is going to be done. And once all those assets are in place, I don't really plan on doing anything else other than ramping up content to grow and promote those things. And so I can see at the end of the tunnel, even though it might be at least 6 months away, I can see a place of a lot more peace and headspace once I get through all this. That's dependent on me, one, staying focused to what I just said, and two, not letting my tendency to take on more new stuff creep back in and kind of keep this perpetual cycle of always feeling like I have 8 plates spinning. One of my best business coaches of all time once told me something. He said, the business is inside of you. And this is basically what he meant, is like the state that you're in will manifest itself in your business. Your business is really just a reflection of your own internal state. That's why, guys like Justin Welsh, who I follow on YouTube and X, he's like really successful as a one-man business, makes, millions of dollars every year with like 90-something% margins. It's pretty cool. It's like definitely what I'm modeling in my business. Again, it's Justin Welsh, if you want to go check him out, WELSH. But that dude is like a robot, almost to the point of being a little boring, but he's just a machine, systemized. He sits down at 6 a.m. and does this exact thing from 6 to 7, then 7 to 8. And he's done it consistently for almost 5 years now, and you can see the results. And he stayed really, really focused and really consistent and really committed. And he has those personality traits that reflect themselves in his business, and you can see it. And whereas I have kind of personality traits of like the ADD, creative, sort of excited person that doesn't always finish things. And you can see that in my business, right? And so that's what my coach meant by the business is inside of you. You are the business. And so in order to make your business successful, sometimes it really is the ultimate personal growth journey of working on making you into the person that it's going to take to actually grow that business and to focus and get some results and all that. So that's all I got for you guys today. I hope that was helpful. If you want to join my newsletter, it's called Ink to Income. It's a weekly actionable tip on how to use writing to grow your brand and get clients online. The link will be in the description for that. And I hope to see you guys in another week or so. There's actually a chance I may dial back the YouTube /newsletter/podcast to just bi-weekly while I get a lot of these projects done. That was another epiphany I had. It's like you don't have to keep up with the exact content rhythm if you have a lot going on, a lot of projects you need to finish. And so sometimes I'll put too much pressure on myself. I'll create this false sense of urgency that kind of is with me every day. And it can make work not fun if you just feel anxious and like there's this like pressure looming over you when you sit down to work. And I realized that when I feel that way, I actually tire out quicker and I can only work for like a couple hours. But if I really relax and make sure to enjoy my work and I'm having fun and I take breaks and I don't let myself kind of furrow my brow and get in stress, urgency mode, I actually have a lot more stamina for my work itself, which makes sense, but I hadn't really ever thought about that until recently. All right, guys, thank you for tuning in. I hope this was valuable for you. I'll see you soon. Peace.